Okay, so this time we want to talk about, I don't know if it's a top 10 list, but it's just things that we liked living in China and some things that we didn't like
Yeah,
living in
things
China.
that could be frustrating, at least a little bit.
Yeah. Alright, so the first thing that I loved about China was the convenience.
Well, we need to at least specify what part of China we're talking about. Our experience is related to just Wuhan. We went some other places, but
We lived in Wuhan.
we lived in Wuhan. So everything is not every, just like in every state in America, it's a little different. Every town is a little different. Every bit of China is a little different, and we're referring to a metropolis. So convenience is definitely
Yeah.
a top thing in a city.
Easy to
you know?
move around. So, bus, taxi, metro, fast, cheap,
Yes.
easy to get around the city. And Wuhan's a big city. And even if you want to go out of Wuhan, you can take the fast train somewhere, and it's just convenient, easy to order online. You just go. It's very, I mean, even though we didn't speak Mandarin or read it very well, we were able to do it on our own a lot of the time.
We had a Metro card. I mean, I don't know. We went in New York and we tried the train
He
there.
did not like the train.
The trains in New York are
the
terrible.
metro. Is it underground?
I don't
No,
know what it's
metro.
called.
And it's
Is it
metro
called
in New
Metro?
York.
We
Isn't
tried one in Tokyo
Subway.
too.
It's the subway in New
Subway
York.
system, whatever you call
it?
it.
It's called the metro in Wuhan.
Yeah, the one in New York was bad. Tokyo was pretty good. I like
Tokyo
Tokyo,
was good.
but it's expensive.
Clean, very orderly.
But
But the trains were older, but they were built. The ones in Wuhan, they keep building a new line every year.
Wuhan, yeah,
So they
Wuhan
were
lives-
pretty new, and the train, each station had like a theme and stuff, so that was pretty visually appealing to look at, and they were clean.
The reason they were building it recently was because for the longest time they couldn't establish one due to where they're at. Wuhan is built on top of a river, and the groundwater was just causing too much frustration.
Yeah.
They eventually hired out, looking for like the top engineers around the world to come up with some sort of solution for developing a train system in there underground, and they eventually got it and started building a new line every year, rapidly, speedy, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. So as long as you can get to like a map and like on your phone, it's easy to navigate. Cheap. You just get a Metro card. It's like attached to your passport number, I think, and you load money onto it. Taxis, super cheap. You pay with cash or Alipay.
Yeah.
On your phone, or WeChat Pay, I think.
Zhufubao.
So you can take a taxi for really cheap. At least in Wuhan. In Beijing, it's different because that's a bigger city and a lot more traffic. So yeah, convenience. Also with delivery of things, you order something on Taobao, you get it very fast.
Yeah,
You order food, you get it really fast.
We weren't big online buyers until
Not until we went to
China.
Yeah.
Amazon was okay. It is okay here, but
and now we buy it a lot more.
yeah,
but
with the pandemic going on right now, but
even before that, we were buying on Amazon.
we were, but it
after
wasn't
we came
as,
from China, because we knew how convenient it was to just order it.
It wasn't
and
as
get but it wasn't as convenient, I don't think, before we went to China, like in America.
Maybe that's because we
It might
didn't
have
do
not.
it,
But
I
maybe we
don't.
just weren't doing it. Yeah. So
I think the purchasing powers and the delivery system in China, as crazy as it is a quicker delivery, and at least in the city, quicker delivery and more expedient and
yeah,
more
you
reliable.
just order online. Even my kids, my students that I had, if they needed stuff, they would just order it online. And I remember thinking, that's strange. I don't know. It's just, it wasn't ingrained in me. And I guess the culture I was in America and South Carolina, the kids wouldn't normally just like order their own stuff. Like they go to the store, buy it. But in China, you have your Alipay account and you just purchase stuff through that. And it's basically, well, do you want to explain Alipay really fast or no?
Oh, well,
And WeChat Pay.
there's WeChat and Alipay, they're both apps. Alipay was made to be an app that handles your banking information and is supposed to be a QR code based payment wallet, an online wallet, and they developed their stuff towards that end. WeChat is more on the lines of WhatsApp, a Wi-Fi based connection where you can have conversations and whatnot, and then somehow they wanted to copy each other, and so
you can also pay
WeChat developed their own online
with QR
wallet,
codes, the same
and
thing.
Alipay developed their own little chat system. But I think both companies were well grounded in those established arenas, and so whatever their primary function is, that's usually what people use it for.
Most people had both options. Most places, so
You had a
taxi
QR code,
drivers,
even at a
whatever,
mom and
they
pop
would
shop.
have like a little sign with each code, and you can just scan it to pay, and then it just shows up on your phone. Super convenient. So that was something we really liked about China. You just bring your phone. You don't have to bring your bank card with you. You don't even if you have it, you don't have to bring it out
No,
that
you don't
often.
have to.
There were some places
crazy.
that only took cash, but that was very few places. I'm
Who
trying to
only
think.
took cash? I can't even think of anything that ever just took cash. Unless it was like a specific government
Yeah, I don't know.
thing.
I'm
I
trying
can't
to
even think of one place that ever, like all the taxis, you could do it. Every single one had like a little QR code, and it really frustrated me that America.
When we came back, we have to
didn't
take
develop
out our
that.
card. We have to use cash every time. It's so convenient to just have your phone. You just walk out the door with your phone, and
There's a
you know you
reason
can
for
buy
that,
things.
that China had it. There's a lot of China's on a fast track and still is on a fast track with capitalism and developing things and adapting new technologies and just putting out there, boom, and then fixing things later to see if it causes any problems, like their share bike program. But America has all these regulations and rules, and other big companies who say, no, let's not get some other player in here, because then they're going to take away my business. And so they throw out all these policies and lobby within the government so that we can't develop things. Like the QR code was our baby. We made that. America came up with the QR code.
Yeah, but it's
and other
everywhere.
countries like, okay, that's a good idea. Let's implement it for our e-wallet stuff.
I really
And
only see QR codes on educational things. I use them in my
there's
classroom
it's
quite
not
often.
widespread here, and it is
but
very convenient.
That's it. Anyway, so that was one of the things.
Yeah,
The
it's awesome
second
convenience.
thing I wanted to talk about was, medical. So
This is my
medical
third thing
care.
now.
Was that third?
Well, it was transportation.
And then Alipay.
I guess convenience.
Well, convenience
yeah,
is all,
wrapped
yeah.
into the convenience factor.
So the second thing would be medical care. It's so cheap.
Oh yeah. That's
So
just because
cheap.
America, by comparison, is so expensive
It's
on
it's
another level.
amazing.
Like it makes my brain hurt thinking about how expensive things are in the medical system in America. How convoluted, how pricey it is.
And like, for instance, birth control. So if you want to get birth control in America, you have to go to your doctor, you have to get a prescription, they call it in. You go, you then pay for it with insurance or not. In China, you just go to the pharmacy, you tell them what you want, and they give it to you, and then you pay for it, and it's very cheap.
I guess
That's
they
it.
want to regulate some things, but you know,
But that's
there's-
something that's very convenient and very
and
simple.
how they some of the others, like taking a blood test and getting the results in America, depending on where you're at, it can take a couple days for something as simple as just measuring the sugar in your blood or something, or glucose, or just the basic white blood cell count or something along those lines.
The transparency was
Yeah,
really
it's
nice
really
because
cool.
you get to see everything. You get to see your x-rays and you get to keep them. I mean, they give them to you. You go take them and show them to doctors. You get your blood information and they'll tell you like how much your white blood cell count was and what type you had and what that means. So like, is it too high? Is it too low? And all of this. And
Now,
in America, you don't always.
not
well,
always.
okay.
I've had a
Now
different
you
experience.
do with the apps.
Well, at least with
our that we have now.
we're with
Before,
Providence.
I've
and
never seen
they
anything like
have a more transparent
yeah, you
system.
can see all of your tests. And
But
everything.
other than that, the other doctors I went to was always under lock and key. They had all the
Yeah.
information, and
They
then
just
they
tell
told
you, yeah, they tell you the main things, the highlights, and then
And the
you just head off.
expediency. So even like you said, you get your X-rays, you get your blood tests. You literally they give they take the blood, like, okay, here are your vials. It's not
You
in
take
America. They take it away
You
like
take
this
it
is
to
mine.
this person.
I'll go send it off to some other place, and
Yeah.
I'll tell you later. No, China gives it to you. Like, okay, go to the second floor on your third right. Give it to the attendant there, and it'll be.
You're involved in the process.
You're involved in the process,
I
and
guess
you get to
that's why it's
see
so
them do the
cheap,
testing. It's
because
really cool.
You take it here, you take it there, so they don't have to pay for somebody else to just run.
I suppose, but it's, now there's more to it than that. I
Yeah,
think.
I'm sure.
But there's like a glass wall, kind of like where you're watching the babies. It's a little viewport for them watching the blood test. So you can go into the hospital, you give them the little blood test, and then you can see the
them
people go back there,
working
put
on
it
it.
in the equipment, and doing a little
Mhm.
thing, and then like an hour later, there you go. It's all ready to go. You got all
Mm-hmm.
your information. It's really cool. And again, the price, man. The
Yeah,
price.
it's really good.
To compare, I can think of one, like what is it, endoscopy?
Yeah.
An endoscopy here in America is somewhere in the 1,000 to 1,500 price range, and your insurance may or may not pay for it, but at least out-of-pocket expenses, at least 1,000 to 1,500. Out-of-pocket expenses, no insurance whatsoever, it's going to cost you like $50 in China. That's it. And then we had insurance that
And
paid for
anesthesia,
international, so-
right? The anesthesia.
Anesthesia, yeah. Anesthesia was like I think $150 for that. I had endoscopy that cost me a total of $200 in cash, but the insurance paid for it. I mean, I could have paid with the QR code, I guess, I suppose. But actually, no, we did pay. I did pay
I think
through
you just paid for
Alipay or Zhufubao.
It wasn't like super pricey.
Yeah, it was about $200 US dollars out of pocket. Then we were reimbursed later. But
It was
that in
more because it
America
got
is like
anesthesia.
$1,500 to $2,000. Oh yeah. The other thing about the hospitals.
I was gonna put that in the negatives.
In the negatives?
Do you
Okay,
want
well,
to wait?
sure. We'll talk about negative now, though. We can
Okay, we
throw
can
it out
talk
there
about that.
because it's kind of fun. It's on
I
topic.
wanted to, yeah, so I guess the downside I would say would be depending on the hospital you go to. So I guess if it's like a public maybe hospital, it might not be as clean. Like the floors, and you might feel dirtier as you go in. Now I know like any hospital there's sick people in there, so you don't really feel clean. But there might be fluids on the
It's
floor.
another level.
So
Another
you
level.
just have to kind of bear with it. But that depends on the hospital. So depends on where you go for that.
We
The
were
other
in
thing would be pain tolerance.
yeah, we were in a city again, so that they had multiple hospitals in multiple
Yes.
districts, and one of them I just walked out.
So we
one
didn't
time.
go to all the hospitals.
We
so
saw
we don't know about each and every
Someone,
one.
a
but
janitor, a maintenance person, wiping up. What was it?
bodily fluids. I
Bodily
think
fluids,
it was vomit.
and it was
With a mop.
with a mop.
Like no cleaning
no
products.
cleaning, just like
nothing. Kind of just like slapping it around, moving it
yeah,
around.
and then moved on to the
Just
next thing.
left.
It's like, okay, yeah, I'm out. But the
The
pain
other thing is
tolerance,
pain tolerance.
pain tolerance, yes, that endoscopy that I talked about. So the tubes that they put in your mouth are like this. That's how big they are. I guess they're shooting air through with a little tiny thing, because I know they have
They put a
technology.
camera in,
that-
right?
They put a camera in the
Mhm.
middle of it, but like it's like all the way down. Well, they said, yeah, normally we don't give anesthesia because it's more expensive, which is $150 more expensive. Probably
Chinese people are
Chinese people,
stronger. I don't know.
they just sit there and let them stuff it down their mouth. Awake. Like that's.
He was amazed.
That's-
I don't understand that either.
No.
But
Yeah, no,
I
no,
mean, in
no,
America, they'll throw you a pill at any point. So it's so
yeah, they
much
also had
easier to get
their expensive one. There
painkillers
was
and
another
strong
method.
painkillers here, I think.
I didn't do it. I did the anesthesia because it was like $200. But the other option, again, is also cheap. And I think it's reverse in America. I think it's called a Bara something, Bara pill. It's a pill that you swallow.
Barium?
Barium, yeah. It's a pill that you swallow, and it takes a picture of things as it goes down into your insides and whatnot. It continues flushing through. So that was 4,000 RMB, which equates to about $500.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's reverse, the cheaper one. That's a cheaper option in America. But even as that's a cheaper option, it's still like $500 or $600 or something.
Also, when I was pregnant and they tried to induce me, they wanted to do a balloon catheter. And in America, you would get anesthesia for that. But
I just had to
in
remember
China,
it.
they didn't offer it to me. And I don't know anything about the stuff. I didn't know if I could get anesthesia or not and if it would hurt. It hurt. It was painful. It was really painful.
I was sitting out.
You heard me screaming
I
out there.
heard her screaming, and I thought they were killing you.
Yeah, that was excruciatingly
these
painful.
death screams.
And I have a very high tolerance for pain, and that was very painful. So yeah, so the pain tolerances differ, I guess, but we're not used to that, right? So because normally we would just get anesthesia. So yeah,
We're coddled.
that was something else. Another thing I did, I guess, since we're on negatives, and it's also kind of a positive. A lot of the Chinese people that I met, at least in Wuhan, are very blunt and honest. They will tell you, if you look good today, oh, you look bad today.
What's wrong with you?
Did you gain weight? Are you fat? They will tell you, they have no qualms. And it's kind of, sometimes it's like your confidence is like, oh, wow, okay. But then also, you know, they're going to give it to you real. So if they tell you you look good today, then you're like, oh, okay, I look good today.
You know it's not
I look
fake.
really nice. Just say it. Just tell it like it is. Just anything. They will just say exactly what they think. And it's not like they're trying to be mean. That's just the culture. You just say it.
Yeah.
At least physically, about physical appearance. What do you think?
You know, I wonder I wonder if there's different social bubbles like there are in America. I know there are bubbles in America that you would be like,
you wouldn't just say that too.
You would or would not. Like some bubbles you would say it. You'd be like, yo man, what's wrong with you? Or there might be bubbles in a more elite class where it's frowned on to do that. And I wonder if they have that in China. So the social bubble that we lived in was not necessarily high class. We were in the down and not the down and dirty, but we were middle class or lower, I would say, from how we lived. So that was our experience with those types of people in middle class. They just speak it out.
Another one. Okay, so the next
negative
one.
Or positive?
Positive.
Okay.
So I really liked I don't know how to describe it, the school/kid culture. So what I mean is,
Okay.
I was a teacher in China, and the kids are really respectful to their teachers. Your teacher is like really high up as far as respecting, listening to what they say. And then I also liked, because we would see this every day, that the students at lunchtime or even like after school, so the high school would run almost like all day long. They come in like early in the morning, and then they have classes, and then they have like review, and they stay late and study. They might leave at like 8-10 p.m., something like, it just depends on what's going on. And so their families would bring them food, like homemade food. You would see, and it wasn't just like one or two parents, and they weren't, the kids didn't just bring their lunch with you. They're bringing them hot lunch. Like they're coming with the hot noodles, with the broth, the freshly made food, maybe even feeding it to them. Because they care. They want them to be like
And
taken
that's an
care
okay
of
thing.
and not think about that. I thought it was just so nice.
Can you imagine
See them
going to
coming
high
and
school
supporting.
and seeing your mom come up like open wide
They-
during lunch?
They
Oh,
come,
you'd be ostracized
they're
and
waiting
made
at the
fun of
gate
for the rest of your
for
life.
the kids to come out. And
Yeah,
these are high
yeah.
school kids. So
These
like
are high
we
school
saw it
kids.
with little kids too, but these were high school kids
High
that
school
we were
kids.
seeing it with.
They're eating it with their family.
every
Family's
day.
coming.
Every day, sometimes twice a day for like lunch and sometimes
A lot of
dinner.
them were grandparents too.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of that. So the culture is that the grandparents take care of the grandkids, and then the parents themselves will work.
Yeah.
So that's the culture. So the grandparents they take care of that child and raise them up basically so that the parents can go out and work.
But that might be
And they live all together.
a little different depending on the situation.
Yeah, I'm sure
But
it's different. But
yeah.
that was the dynamic that we saw pretty much. So the grandparents would like watch the kids, and at first we kind of thought the kids were wild. The little kids running around, no sense of anything, but that was before we had kids too.
Education is definitely a priority in many other countries and not in America. And China it's huge there.
You go to your regular school, you go to like other training schools
Yes.
for different things.
Yes.
You have your regular school during the week, and you
Uh-huh.
might have something, in the afternoon, and then on the weekends you also have your training programs.
Culturally,
So it might be
they
math,
are.
it might be chemistry, it might be the instrument that you play, whatever. So you have a lot of school. It's like that Tiger Mom schedule. It
It
might not
is.
be that intense for everyone, but they are doing something on the weekend.
There's
Like,
an
they're doing something
expectation to
outside.
continue to do that with your child as a competitor.
It's
And
expensive,
it is
and you invest in
intense.
it, and that's just what you do. That's what it is expected.
It's intense, but the outcomes of it seem to be
Mm.
pretty good. Even
Like in the dorm here that we live in, there's Chinese kids, there's Korean kids. They all seem to play an instrument.
Yeah.
They all play an instrument, and not just like play, dabble. They can play.
They can really
they
throw it out.
play. So it seems successful from our perspective.
Well, there's a negative to that, to add to the priority in education. Some of the methodology that they use, how intense it is, can be a little too intense for kids, and there's
so
some
some kids can't
incidences.
survive it. So
That's kind of that was my
it's
take on it.
stressful to work in the Chinese system, let's just say that. So you might not be able to handle that stress. For instance, the high school kids, they train all through high school, and then their senior year they have to take this test, and it only happens, I think it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
3-day test, and that's it. It's not like the SAT where you can take it many times during the year, and you take it that time. You need to be ready to take it at that time on that day. Everything shuts, like there's no school. I think some of the work is canceled. It's kind of like a holiday for everyone else, and those kids are just taking that test, and that test determines what school you get into. And if you don't do well on that test, you can take it again the next year, but you have to make a better score, because they're like, oh, you've had one more year of study, so you now need to be able to get up to this number at least to get into the school now.
Yeah.
So it's stressful, but different strokes for different folks.
What's the next one?
The next one, food. I put food.
As
Now,
what, a positive?
for me, positive. For him, negative.
Yeah.
I love the food, spicy food, veggies that are flavorful, sweet food, lots of different drinks. Oh my gosh, lots of different yummy drinks to try. I was just in heaven trying everything. I liked all of the food. The Chinese food, there was also American food, there was Indian food, any food. Throw it at me, throw it in my mouth. It's delicious. Now, you.
I didn't really care for it. I don't like spicy foods.
You became a vegan when we were there, didn't you?
I ate chicken. I mean, my diet.
At some point you were a vegan, I remember
I think I did go vegan at one point. There's a lack of the food that I'm used to, and
non-spicy, but
just non-spicy.
Your spice tolerance has gone up since we left.
Probably
China.
a little bit, but
Because everything had a little spice. Like
I had to pick and
hotness.
choose my food. I was very picky with it and found very limited sources of foods that I liked. I should have been a fruitosaurus because they have tons of cheap fruit there that we can get on a daily basis, but I never really went down
We
that
made a
path.
lot of stir fries towards the end there.
Yeah, a ton
When
of
I was
stir fry.
pregnant, I used to have them make chicken Alfredo all the time, and
Yeah.
stir fry. So we would cook as well, but like we said, the convenience, so you can get things delivered so easily, or there's so many places with such good food and it's smelling good. Just
Mhm.
kidding. It's so good. Even McDonald's. So McDonald's in America sucks compared to the McDonald's there in Wuhan, at
McDonald's
least
sucks
where
all
we
the
were.
time. What are you
It
talking
tasted
about?
so much better. McDonald's
It's
in
a
other
different oil,
countries
probably.
tastes so much better than it tastes here. It was so good.
And of course, I mean,
But I was
many people
pregnant,
might
too.
already know this, but when you go to another country, even if you see a McDonald's and KFC, they have a different style of cooking things, and they all offer different menus that seem to sell better.
I didn't
that
like
region.
KFC as much in China as I do in America. So I'll say
I
that.
liked their chicken was okay.
I like KFC better here, but I like McDonald's better over there.
Yeah.
Honey, it was
KFC
good.
had that
Oh, and
porridge
Pizza
and
Hut.
rice.
Pizza Hut was a
Oh,
sit-down
yeah.
dining restaurant. It wasn't. They had like
Pizza Hut here
actual
is
meals.
like
They had steak on the menu. They
Yeah.
have different like
Shrimp.
craft drinks.
they have shrimp.
Shrimp on the pizza. Shrimp like
Yeah,
it was legit. It
it
was kind of like an Applebee's.
middle to high class. Definitely a sit-down, eat-in restaurant. Not what you would bring like in America, you bring the baseball team over to Pizza Hut with the football team and celebrate, and everybody eats a little bit of pizza and the little salad buffet, and nobody else is sitting there. Like, it just seems abandoned.
Okay, so some negatives. All right, air pollution and the roads are dirty. So I put those together because I think the roads are dirty because of the air pollution.
Oh yeah, the cars, all that.
But that might be a city thing. So, because we're not
There's a
from
mix,
a
I
city in America, really. Like, not like a big city like that. So, I think it was the air pollution and being in a city. Because when we were in New York,
I have to disagree.
the streets were dirty.
Well, New York was, but Tokyo.
Okay.
Tokyo could do no wrong.
Alright.
Their city was fabulous. Their roads, the cleanest roads you've ever seen. Like, they just built the roads. All the paint looks fresh. Like, they have, I guess what they do is they have a street sweeper come through every day at a certain time in the
They
morning.
did in China, in Wuhan.
They
They
did-
had
they
the
always-
water truck that comes by, and you have to make sure you get out of the way.
When
so
we
you don't
first
get
got here, do you
sprayed
remember
with
what they were
water.
playing? In
They
2000,
played some-
we left in 2016, and it was that year that they finished. No, it wasn't 2016. Yeah, it was.
Mhm.
Yeah, we were leaving just as the election was going on. So 2016, 2016 August. Around that time, they just built Disney World in Shanghai, and so the street sweepers, the cleaners, they all had an ice cream truck sound playing, and it was "It's a small world after all," but it was like. I remember hearing that and thinking, "What?"
Because we flew into
What?
Shanghai, so that was when we were in.
No,
Shanghai
it was
for
playing
a
in
few
Wuhan
days.
too.
Is that the one?
It was playing
It
in
doesn't
Wuhan
sound
too.
right.
Yes, it was playing. It was playing.
Well, it played this creepy music, so you know this. You know the water trucks coming by, so you have to get out of the way so you don't.
I
get
forget what they
splashed.
played later, but that was what they were playing as like
And
a
it's like
propaganda thing.
Cleaning the
later
road
on.
because the roads are.
Oh
dirty.
yeah, they're
You
shooting
have
out
to have a separate
tons
pair
of
of
water.
shoes to walk in. It's like you. I actually had my mom send me some rain boots because it was just so nasty. Like
The
it's
water-
wet, and because the water trucks do come through, it's like wet, and then the dirt.
They dump
And it's just
tons
like a
of
whole
water.
cycle.
It's not just like a little bit of. It's like a fire truck
Yeah.
is shooting off on all sides. You like water that's coming out a tube like this, flying through. You would get soaked. Everybody
So you
hear
don't
it
wanna
and
wear-
they just go running to the side like.
You don't want to wear pants that hang on the ground. You don't really want to wear open toe shoes unless you just know it's going to be dry, or you're just like heading out quickly and coming back or something.
Other people, well, they're wear
But
sandals and
yeah, I mean,
stuff.
you can do what you want, but your feet are gonna be nasty when you come back.
It's
And the air pollution. So when we first got there, we were diligent in wearing our masks, because the air pollution was very bad, and it was during the summer when we got there. But then we kind of did like everyone else, which is just wear them when it's really, really bad, really, really, really bad.
I think I did it a little more often than you, but
the mindset is that the Chinese people are stronger because they breathe it in all the time.
oh yeah, it's
So they don't
mentality
really
thing.
wear
Like
masks because
their lungs
their
are
their lungs are
gaining
fine.
immunity.
They breathe it in, so they're used to that. But foreigners should wear the mask. That's the mindset. But sometimes it would be weird to wear the masks, which is weird because
It's
when
kind
you're
of like
sick, you wear masks.
Yes, and when you're sick, you definitely wear a mask in Asian countries.
If
But
you're just wearing, we had these big. We did have these big like hazmat.
not until later. That was in 2008. That was when we moved. That was when we came back. The second year.
Well, also it could have just been they were just staring because we're foreigners. Also, which I didn't think about.
The thing is, it's just kind of like in America right now, where you have some people thinking it's okay to wear a mask, other people not okay to wear masks. It's kind of you see people doing it. It's crowd psychology. You see people wearing masks. You're like, oh, I'll put on my mask. You see nobody wearing a mask, you're gonna feel weird. You're like, okay, maybe I'll take my mask off. It's the same thing over there.
Mm-hmm.
You wear a mask when you're sick, but then otherwise most people don't, and so you don't as well, and you kind of get in this mindset like it's okay because there's no immediate effects.
Yeah. You just get
unless
used
it's
to it.
really,
You get
really
used to the
bad.
sky being hazy and not really thinking about like why.
Remember when
it's
we went
hazy.
to Tokyo and we looked up like, oh, there's a blue sky. Oh my gosh, it's that bad. There's
So
no
you
day
think when you
where
go
it's-
over there, you're gonna be very vigilant in wearing your mask and like being. But
the AQI was on average on a good day, the best days it would be 80. The bad worst days are 500.
And
or
here
unregistered-
on a normal day is
unregisterable.
what? So in America, in a regular
20 to 40. In like maybe Los Angeles, it might be upwards of 50, 60,
maybe even 100.
70,
But
100 on the worst days in America, but 80 was like the best day that we had in Wuhan.
a bad day would be like what?
500.
300 or 500. I
300
think when it
plus.
got to like 300, we were
Average is
nice.
probably 150. So
Next one is people traffic.
yeah.
And again, we're not from a big city, but this city in Wuhan has a lot of people.
Our comparison is
There's
mostly,
not a lot of personal space. Let's
with-
just say that.
we experienced at least 3 metropolis-like cities: New York, Tokyo, and Wuhan. Beijing a little bit, Shanghai or Shanghai, however you want to pronounce it. We went there a little bit, but it's not. Yeah.
We
Wuhan,
had the least amount of personal space in Wuhan. So people are
For
just
sure.
up in your business. There's no bubble at all. Especially, we noticed it a lot
On
more
trains.
when we had Freya, our baby. People would just be like right there. We were trying to like protect her from people. Like she would be covered in her stroller.
Yeah.
I had a lady like go in, try to like get into the stroller to see.
Oh yeah, they love looking at babies, and you're a foreigner, you're a celebrity, so you gotta look at the foreigner celebrity baby. Like,
They
oh,
wanna see
they're
big
white,
eyes, big
eyes,
eyes.
and yeah, or it's
Yeah.
weird.
So there was no bubble. That was something we had to kind of get used to. It was, and sometimes when you're having a bad day, it's kind of annoying. You know, it's just like, oh my gosh, get off me, get away, I need space. And then the last thing would be internet access. So that would be something negative. So from what we're used to in America. So in America, we have access to Google things, and Google is in everything. And also there's like some different apps that we couldn't access when we were in China. For example, Netflix is not in China. We had to use a VPN to get on Netflix, to get on anything Google related, and like our email, anything like that. YouTube is also Google
Facebook,
related. Yeah,
Google are
you have to use a
blocked in China.
VPN to get to, and sometimes it was slower. Well, a lot of times it was slower and hard to get to, and so that was sometimes annoying if you just want to like put something on Facebook or like watch a video in English that we could get to easily. We thought, well, no, because we have to use a VPN and it's kind of slow.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think the government would kind of shut them down or something.
Yeah, sometimes it would kick you off the
It would
VPN.
kick you off,
Eventually, the
and
firewall
so-
would be like, oh, I found you. Boom, kicked off.
There's your day. Like you plan to watch The Office on Netflix, and now you can't do that. Or you know,
I guess it's those little things.
because we can watch regular TV because we don't speak Mandarin, so that was like our TV. But that's it. So there's our list of things that we liked and things that we didn't like when we were in China.